In this video tutorial, I'm going to show you how to get started with Hypothesis for our New Mexico history class. The Hypothesis platform will be used, it's one of the options that you have for the Reading Annotations assignment. So you can either use Twitter or Hypothesis for that, or you can use a combination of the two. As you scroll down on our course landing page, you will see links to the course hashtag. On Twitter, you'll also see a link to join the group on Hypothesis. So that's one way of getting to those things. Hopefully that's helpful, especially as we get into the semester. You can also click on the Reading Annotations tab here in the course content section of the menu. There you'll find a Google Doc that contains the instructions for the Reading Annotations assignment, talk to you about what the assignment's all about, what we'll be using it for, and so on. Here you will see a link again to our course hashtag on Twitter, tutorial for Twitter. Beneath that will be this video tutorial. And then this link here is another one of those that you can use to get to the class group on Hypothesis. So that's the one. I point all of that out just to say there are multiple ways of getting to things in our course. I hope that I've organized things in such a way that it's not confusing, but that things are readily available when and where you need them. So when you want to get started with Hypothesis, hopefully after you've read through the Reading Annotations assignment instructions, you can click the link in there, or you can click this one to join the class group on Hypothesis. When you click that, you will see this invitation. You'll just need to click on the big red button to accept the invitation. If you already have a Hypothesis account, it may just try to get you to log in right here. If not, you go down to sign up, click that, and then enter some credentials to sign up. You'll create a username that needs to have numbers and letters. It can't have any spaces. You'll submit an email address. You can use your CNM address or any email address that you prefer for this particular account and assignment, and then you'll create a password. Once you've done that, click on the little checkbox that you've read and agreed to the policies. I do suggest that you at least glance at the privacy policy, terms of service, community guidelines. Those are important things, even though I myself am guilty of signing up for things without reading the policies. But that's where you find out what these, what these companies do with your information, with your data, and so on. I do know from research that I've done that Hypothesis is a pretty good digital citizen. It's open source. They don't use your personal data to make money or for those kinds of ends. So it is a pretty good service. Twitter is a little less good, I do have to admit, but I believe that we can use it for good in our class, and that's the way that we do it. So I've actually been using Twitter with students for a number of years now, and given what we do with it, it does work pretty well. Once you have all of that stuff in there, you click sign up. You'll notice I didn't put any of that in. I already have a couple of Hypothesis accounts created, and so I don't want to duplicate things. But just to tell you, once you click sign up, you'll get a window will pop up that will tell you that you need to go and check your email. So whatever email address you used to create your account, you'll go check that account. There'll be an email from Hypothesis. Check the junk mail if it's not in the inbox. And you'll open that email, click the link, and then your account will be verified, and you can sign in for good. I'm going to click this button to log in since I already have an account. I'm going to use my CNM version of the account to walk you through this because I can show you a little bit more of what it will look like from your side of things. I've used that other one to be the administrator of the group. All right, so from here, that's interesting. I thought that it would, sometimes when you're brand new to things, you haven't made any annotations yet. I have made an annotation, and I guess that's why this is showing up the way it is. You won't see anything here, but you will see a link that asks you to either add the bookmarklet to your browser or add the extension to your browser if you're using Chrome. And so since I'm using Chrome, I'm going to want to put the Chrome extension on here. So let me show you how to do that real quick. I'm going to go back just by clicking that little icon for Hypothesis. Go back to the home page and click Get Started. And then from here, this gives you the steps. So we've created a free account, and then you need to add Hypothesis to your browser. So that's the part that we're working on right now, because before you can use it, you have to have it attached to your browser in some way. I'm going to show you how to do the Chrome extension, and it's fairly simple. You just click Chrome extension, it opens the Chrome Web Store, and then you click Add to Chrome. It gives you this pop-up, and just to make sure that you are sure of what you're doing, click Add Extension, and then you'll notice here it is. So here's the Hypothesis logo up here in my extension bar, and this is how you will use Hypothesis. You will have to log in to the extension, so let me show you. If I turn off the extension, there's nothing over here. If I click on the extension, this thing pops up. I can hide it, so I see these little buttons, this arrow, this eyeball, this note page. I click the arrow, and it brings up the Hypothesis annotation tool. You can do this on many websites, not all of them, but many of them. I'm going to make a separate video to show you how to use this with the materials that we'll be working with in class. Like I mentioned, you need to click Login here. Since I've already logged in another tab, it just automatically logged me in when I clicked that button. So you can see here, there I am, Brandon M19. So I know I'm in the right account. If you want to make sure that you're publishing things to our course group, you need to click on this little drop-down arrow and then click NM History Fall 2019. Something that I noticed when I was playing around with this is that it appears that when you first set up your account, you first log in. So let me show you that page again, if I can get back to it. Right here, I believe. It always depends on how fast your internet is. Let me just log in real quick. There we are. So when you first log back in after doing the email verification that I mentioned, if you click Groups, you may notice that the New Mexico History Group is not there. If that is the case, stay logged in, go back over to our course in Blackboard, click Join Class Group again. It'll open up, and if you're already in the group, it'll just take you to your landing page. It'll show you all of the annotations that people have made in the group. So this top one is one that I did with my new account that I created that I'm showing you. This other one is the Gmail account that I have. So you'll be able to see annotations that other folks have made when you log in. But once you do that and you go over here, you should see the New Mexico History Fall 2019 group. If for some reason that gives you trouble and you can't figure out how to get it in there, contact me and we'll work through it, figure it out. Okay, so let me, I'm going to close this for a second. So right here then, this is Hypothesis. You use it in a browser. Let me show you how to get that for, or what that looks like, I should say, in a different browser. So I'm going to swipe aside. Here we are in Firefox. I have Hypothesis open, and just as I did a minute ago, I'm going to click Get Started, scroll down, and then I'm going to, since I'm not in Chrome, I'm going to do this Hypothesis bookmarklet. Now I can just drag it up here to my bookmarks bar, or I can right-click or control-click and click bookmark this link. Either way works. I'm going to drag it up there, and there it is. You'll see now it says Hypothesis bookmarklet. Now I'm going to open a new tab, and I'm going to find our class textbook. So we go there real quick. The internet is cooperating nicely. I probably shouldn't say things like that, but sometimes it gets slow when I'm making videos, and this is nice. All right, so here we are in our class textbook. I'm going to scroll down, pick the New Mexico difference. I get into the chapter. So again, imagine that you're reading this, and you decide as you're reading that you would like to complete the reading annotations with Hypothesis. If you've already added Hypothesis to your browser, whether that's Chrome or whether it's Firefox or another browser, Safari if you're using a Mac, like I am, Internet Explorer or Edge if you're using a PC. Again, depending on which one you're doing, you'll click the bookmarklet, or you'll click the extension if you're on Chrome. But notice that when I clicked the bookmarklet, these things popped up just like they did on Chrome. So now that they're there, I can annotate. So if I'm reading along and I'm thinking scholars considered state histories to be parochial or provincial, so I can highlight that. I decided I wanted to make a comment. These two options pop up. I click annotate. You can highlight, but for the purposes of our class, it's not super helpful. Notice if you're not yet logged in, it will ask you to log in. I probably have to log in. Oh, there he was. Okay, so there I am. Notice it says public. I don't want to post public. I mean, you can, but then your annotations will be viewable by anyone and everyone that uses Hypothesis and looks at this section of our book. Instead, I'm going to go to New Mexico History, Fall 2019. And I'm going to click this again because I wasn't logged in yet. So my head's in the way, that's the problem. It's being a bugger, isn't it? Okay, let's see if I can try this again. I'm going to highlight this again. There we go. Annotate. Now that I'm logged in, it gives me this little text box. And so I can just type my annotation here. It may be that I want to ask a question, like or make a statement. I'd never heard this. What do you mean? Why would historians think this? Now, those are things that if you read on, the chapter answers a little bit, but those are questions that popped into my head as I was reading this, and so those are annotations that I wanted to make. I can bold, I can do italics, I can do quotes. I can also insert links if I happen to think of a website or something as I was reading along that was relative to what we're reading about. I could put a link to it here, and then I just click Post to NM History. All right, so now there's an annotation. So when you come on here, and if you're reading and someone else has annotated before you get here, you get down there and you see that if you have Hypothesis on. If you don't have Hypothesis on, you won't see any of this, right? So if I click the bookmarklet, I think that's how you get rid of it. Maybe that's not how you do it in Firefox. Well, you can turn it off, and if it is off, then you wouldn't see the highlights. If you have Hypothesis on, you will see the highlights. You can click on them to read the annotations. If you decide you want to respond to someone's annotation, you just go down here. You won't be able to delete anyone else's annotations but your own, or edit them. But you can respond with this little arrow right here. So you click the arrow, and then you'll notice a new box is up. It's a little bit indented, and that's a reply to this question. So you would just type reply and then hit post. So again, it's pretty easy. When people start doing this, you come along, you can read the conversations going on in the margin, and that will give us, again, a way to think more deeply and read more deeply into the texts that we're using this semester. So I hope that's helpful for getting started. I'll show you the different types of documents and annotation issues in the other video, but that is everything you need to get started at this point. As always, please let me know if you have any questions, and I'm looking forward to annotating online with you.